Hey there, I'm Sam from BMT School of Music, and in this video lesson I'm going to show you how to play the intro part to Fade to Black by Metallica. Here's how it goes. I'm probably going to make a couple of slip-ups on this, which is completely inappropriate considering I'm actually going to be teaching you how to play this. But here we go. So that's how it goes. Add one little slip in there. So the song is using something called a let ring technique. So if you look at the tab for this, I'm just going to click up the Google Drive tab here. You'll see that it is a melody. So you've got one note at a time or one after the other. But it does have something at the top that says let ring. And what this means is that those notes should have a sound that makes them blend with each other. So if I just took something like a D chord, and I pick those notes separately, they're ringing and blending with each other. But if I fretted each one separately, the effect I get is going to be different. Okay, so you have to have that let ring technique. So the very, very first four notes are by holding essentially what's a B power chord. So that's fret 2 on the A string, fret 4 on the D, and then you're also going to pick those two strings and then an open G with your right hand, and then you're going to go back to the D string after that. So it's going to go 1, 2, 3, 4 notes like that. And you can hear they're all ringing together with that let ring technique. Okay, next bit, so I'm thinking in half bars here, is I pick the two notes of the power chord, and then I add my little finger to fret 5 on the A string, and then pick the same two strings. So on my right hand, I'm going to be going A, D, but the left hand is changing by one note. Okay, so that first four notes, like that. So through a B power chord, open G, and back. Second half of that bar, through the power chord, add the little finger to fret 5, pick the same two notes. I'm just going to show you that on the tab. So we click this up here. So that's what sometimes quite often do, is just split things in half like that. So there's your first half a bar. That's the one that went. And then the second half a bar, the one that goes like that. Okay, a little bit about the picking. What you're generally going to do with this kind of song, which is basically like what we would call an arpeggio, which is picking the notes of a chord separately, is you're going to pick everything down. So we'll put D for down, unless you're turning around. So on this note here, this open G, we're actually turning around and going back in that direction. So that one we're actually going to pick up, and so then that's going to be down, down, and then that one's going to be up, and then down, up. Just check I didn't miss anything there. So it should be down, down, up, down. Second half of the bar is going to be down, up, down, up. Let me demo those without the screen share. So first half of the bar, that right hand is going to be down, down, up, down. Okay, you can practice that on its own. The second half of the bar, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up. The whole bar. Okay. Once you've got that bar down, the next bar's easier because it's basically exactly the same, but it has an open A string instead of the second fret on the D, on the A. So then you're going to keep the fingering the same. You're going to have the third finger there, and you're going to go. After that, it's going back to the same bar. And then the next bar, which is the one I stuffed up in the demo at the start, is a different chord altogether. Like that. So this one, you would get your third finger on fret 4 of the D, of the A. Then you get your first finger, you're going to lie that flat across the D and the G string on fret 2. And you're going to pick exactly the same right hand picking technique that you had before. We're going to pick down, down, up, down. So it shows the importance of getting that right hand technique down. If you get that right hand technique really, really good, you're not going to need to practice that as you progress. You'll kind of find that will come naturally. Down, down, up, down, 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 up, down. And then the second half of that bar is going to play fret 4 on the A, 2 on the D, so same notes as the previous chord, and then you're going to leave the A string open. And that right hand technique again is the same as the other bar. You're just going down, up on that A and D string, the whole of that bar together. Like that, just show that on the screen share as well. And that is here, the 4th bar. So we have the first half a bar, so 4 on the A, 2, 2 on the D and the G. Again, same picking pattern, down, down, up, down, 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 up, down. And then the second half of the bar, where you've got 4 on the A, 2 on the D, then you've got that open string, and then 2 on the D, and that's going to be down, up, up, okay? And that will give you the whole of that. That's the main part of that intro. I'm going to demo it again. Okay, so you've only got 3 different bars. Number 1, number 2, returns back to the first bar, and then the 4th bar. A little tip is to break those bars up and practice them all individually, but then also practice them as half bars as well, and practice linking those together. Another one of my videos I talked a lot about linking notes. So I'm just going to practice bar 1, I'm going to practice bar 2, and I'm going to practice this one, which I am going to name bar 3, or maybe item 3, if you will, because this one here is exactly the same as this one. Now, a common mistake a lot of people make is they will practice by just playing through the whole of that line, okay? And a couple of things bad about this, and this is generic through all of playing music, is you're not getting enough repetition, okay? So like to have like a bit of a kind of comparison, in schools they quite often do something called look, cover, write, check, if you're familiar with that, and that's basically how they're teaching kids how to spell. Look, cover, write, check. So they look at a word, they cover it, they write it from memory, and then they check it. And they have to repeat that with the same word. And if you repeat it enough with the same word, you're going to be able to spell that word in a small amount of time, maybe just a few minutes. But if you had a list of, say, 10 words, and you do 1 practice at that word before moving on to the next one, of course, you're going to find by the time you get to the 4th, 5th word, you're going to start to forget what that first word went like. So we want to think of it the same when you're practicing guitar, is repetition within repetition. So a lot of people, I will say, how are you going to get good at this riff? And they will say, well, I'm just going to keep playing it over and over again. So they're just going to be going like that, bang to the start, that, bang to the start, that, bang to the start, and they're not getting enough repetition within that repetition. So doing that one for a couple of minutes, then doing the next one for a couple of minutes, then not doing this one at all because you're already practicing that one there. So then repeating this one. So that was the second mistake that some people make, is they actually end up practicing this bar twice as much as anything else. They're going to get really, really good at that bar and not so good. So it's disproportionate. You want to be practicing everything the same amount. Okay, so that's how that part of the intro goes. And what I'm going to show you now is the end of that. And I learned this by ear many, many, many years ago. And as many guitarists will tell you, once you learn something by ear, if it's different to the original, you're never going to be able to correct that. Makes very little difference. It's only with this note here that I make a bit of a mistake, but it still sounds good anyway. So this part of the song goes. And again. Do it off screen share as well. And so again, they're basically arpeggios. You want to be learning them in half bars. So the first one is basically an F power chord. I tend to do this with my little finger. You can kind of figure out what you find easiest. So finger 1 on the bottom E, fret 1, finger 3 on the A string, fret 3. I'm going to pick down, down, up, then down onto the bottom E. That pattern is different than any other pattern you've had before. Like that, so down, down, up, down. I'm just going to point that out on the screen share again. And here it is here. Oops, annotation not working. There we go. So down, down, up, down. Once we're done with that one, on to the next one. You'll notice this chord shape is basically exactly the same chord shape as one that we had earlier here, but it of course is on a different string. So you're already, hopefully already good at playing that one. And that is 4 on the E, 2 and 2 on the A and D. Fingering you use for that, I use finger 3 and 1. Sometimes I might use my 4th finger. As I say, sometimes you can figure out what works best for you. Picking pattern is the same as the previous half bar, so down, down, up, down. So you've got this one and this one. Next half bar, exactly the same picking pattern, but we're moving strings and we're using a different shape again. So that is here. You see the importance of splitting into half bars, because they actually, I think what your brain might start to do is kind of practice a bit like that, maybe a little like that, instead of breaking up into half bars. We've already done that half bar, that half bar. Now we're on to this one, and it's 2, 2 on the A and D, 1 on the G, and back to the first note. Down, down, up, down. I'm going to do that off-screen share as well, so you can see both. So down, down, up, down. Okay, and then we're on to the very, very last part, and that is here. So you're going to hold that chord still. You pick the D and the G, and then you can come off the chord as you play the open B, and then 3 on the B. So that's. Or if you're clever enough, you want a little bit more of a challenge, you can keep your fingers there, and you can go like this. Pinky finger, the whole of that last part of the intro. Okay, and that is it. That's how you play the intro to Fade to Black by Metallica. I really hope you found this lesson useful. In the notes in the description of the video, there's going to be a link to the original song and also a link to my Google Drive tab for this. And you can actually use this to play the whole song. It's arranged so that it has that arpeggio intro. It also has the lead guitar line that's played over that. It's got all of that in there. And it also has the verse. The only thing I'll watch out for here is there's one little error here in the E minor chord here where it's got G there instead. I really don't know how that got there. It's got all the main parts in it. But it's honestly, it's really, really amazing if you can just get the main accompaniment parts down. And that's it. So I hope you found this lesson useful. Goodbye.